Hi guys, my name is Lindy. I am a national award-winning trauma-informed artist and storyteller. And today we're going to be talking about resiliency and building that growth mindset. Not only are we going to be talking about that, but I'm going to be focusing on it from a parental level, since that's who we're speaking to right now. How do we help our children build this growth mindset? And how do we help them get back up and get back up and get back up? It is on the forefront of all of our minds to help our kids navigate through life in an efficient and pleasant manner. And if we don't know how to take the downs or the whammies that come our way, life becomes so difficult. A large amount of adults, we encounter it for the first time the way I did at 38 when I woke up mentally and realized I was in domestic violence and that my kids were witnessing it. And I had to start from scratch. That was a huge pow. I was facing an unhomed situation with my two young children. I did not know how I was going to make it from day to day. This is where resiliency comes in. I had spitfire as a kid, and I think that's how I survived the abuse that I went through my whole life. Started at 3 years old, and at 38 is when I woke up and said, no more. No more. I demand happiness. And that's a huge debacle as an adult. All the things that we feel as adults around these really tough situations, our children feel when they're late for class, or they're picked on, or they miss the bus, or they forget their lunch that day. These feelings are not exclusive to adults, and they're not exclusive to horrible, horrible things happening. Looking at grade school kids getting picked on, getting a bad grade, losing something of value, stepping in something disgusting, being late for class. Maybe we just trip in front of a bunch of people and they laugh. Emotional stress, the loss of a loved one, whether an animal or a human, we are finding that trauma affects our body in the exact same way. Maybe we're wrongfully accused of something. But when we have these things, it greatly disrupts our ability to function. Any of these things, stepping in gum, getting picked on, these things cause an emotional disturbance. They cause issues in 3 parts of our body, and we're going to dig into those things. And those 3 parts combine to create dysfunction, chaos, what we like to call crisis. The way I described it to the kiddos is a POW, right? Because we've all seen these kid comics, Spider-Man, Superman, any of these. When someone takes a hit, it has that little symbol, right? You can look at the picture I drew for them. POW. A POW drastically changes our ability to function. It makes us sad. It overwhelms us. It can anger us. And to a child, those are horrible things. To a teenager, losing a relationship is catastrophic. So we need to be willing to sit with them in their vulnerability and give only empathy. I see you're hurting. I know how bad that hurts. I experience hurt like that too. And these are essential sentences to give to children. When they come home and say, nobody loves me, as an adult, it's pretty hard to not go, everybody loves you, or to flip it and say, I love you. Am I not somebody? It's pretty easy to say, no, people love you. Look at them, look at them. And we want to prove them wrong very, very quickly. The most essential thing we can do is sit down and say, wow, that's a crummy way to feel. That's it. Validate their feelings. Sit with them in that feeling. God, that sucks. I've felt that before. I felt like nobody likes me before too. Do you want to share more? Repeat back what they say and open up the doors for a conversation. So this part in the rally with the kiddos, we talked about who gets POW'd. Everybody, right? Everybody. I liked with the kiddos, I like to share a story of when I played soccer. I was quite aggressive. I was a little aggressive redhead. And collided with a girl, and our heads hit each other. And my eyes were pouring and I couldn't see, and I was wandering around and I couldn't see. And the referee called me off, and the coach goes, "Oh, wow, your nose is broken." And I said, "Am I allowed to play with a broken nose?" And he's like, sure. And I blew my nose and I went back out and I finished the game. And I was feeling amazing. I was like, I am so strong. I thought I was just the bomb, that I could break my nose and I'm going to get these black eyes. I'm going to look so strong and tough. And I finished the game anyway, and I scored a goal. So I was like top of the world. I walked into the house and my mother looks at me and bursts into tears. And I'm not talking like, "Oh no," I'm talking like, "Ah!" And she says, "You used to be so beautiful." It broke me. I burst into tears and I was like, "Now I'm ugly." I'm not even sure that I knew my mom thought I was pretty till that moment, but it was gone. That was a big pow moment for me. See, I didn't break my cartilage. I broke the bone that held it on my face. So my nose was like right here. It was shifted. And I had to have rhinoplasty, and I had to wear a cast over my face for a week of high school. I believe my choir pictures were taken with my cast on. And people were saying very nasty things to me. I had people say, "Wow, if I had that happen to me, I wouldn't show my face. Like, that's hideous." And it was a hard week for me. 10 days, I think I had to wear it. At first, it would take weeks to get over something and choose to continue and fight it. The ability to just get up and keep going. It looks like you are so strong and fast, but it starts when you're young. I went back to college to learn trauma and what it does and the psychology around it and how to heal. As unfortunate as it is, there is a career, a branch of psychology and science called suicidology, and it researches all things around suicide and suicide attempts. And what we are finding is out of 170 plus attempts that survived, they statistically 70+% of them said that they made an attempt within 5 minutes of a crisis. What does this tell us? This tells us that it's not so much a mindset or a depressive state. It's more a, how do I handle a crisis? How do I sit with these horrible emotions? How do I make it through the wave that crisis causes? And crisis, I know it's a big word, but when we break it down, it just means anything that happens that's going to really disrupt our functionality. When we're kids, if we don't learn it, if no one teaches us, it becomes very difficult when a crisis hits us because we don't know how to get back up and keep going. And all of the examples of this around us, especially in movies, show it as, pow, here we go, let's keep going. And that is not at all what happens. I used this example for the kids. We talked about Moana and Maui, and we looked at all of the pows that they had. And I asked them, did Moana sit down and say, okay, my land is dying, my family's in trouble, my grandma just died, I'm all alone, I need to find a demigod to save the entire world, I don't know how to sail, but I have to sail, I have to jump in a cave and fight a crab that's going to try and eat me to get a hook for a man that really doesn't even want to try and help me, and then I have to fight a lava monster. Woohoo! Chee-ho! And the kids are like, no, like that's a lot. When you see them all piled together, like she had massive struggles, lots of pows. And then we talk about, no, Moana had a whole process that she had to go through. We start our days feeling rainbow-tastic most days, right? Like we get ready, we feel good, we have our meal, we hop in the car, we go to school, and we're ready for the day. When you are hit with these events, our comfort can quickly turn into discomfort when something pows us. With the kids, I ask them, what are the 3 letters that turn comfort to discomfort? And it's D-I-S. And especially the littles, they love this. It's an amazing teaching tool. Tell them, okay, let's talk about dis. Dis is the key to turning discomfort back into comfort. So we're going to examine the DIS. A lot of times our discomfort can reach like peak. And if it boils over, we don't know what to do with our discomfort. And a lot of times we want to throw it at somebody else, right? It's like a perpetual domino game of my day sucks, so your day sucks, right? Misery loves company. It's less about seeking company and far more about relieving the pain. And if we don't teach our kids how to relieve this pain, they are unable to go forward, and their one pal will turn into two pals. And the discomfort is what wins. The discomfort will just multiply. So we need to learn how dis talks to us. And there are three big things that we need to listen to. It's our mind, our body, and our heart. And those three things can turn into discovering our thoughts, identifying our feelings, and listening to our senses, DIS. These are the code letters, the red flag letters that tell them to, oh, no, listen to dis, discover my thoughts, identify my feelings, and listen to my senses. When we listen to our thoughts, the three most common thought errors are thinking in black and white, right? Polar opposites. Everybody loves me, everybody hates me, or just positive, negative. Happy, wonderful, great, suck. And then we like to think in worst case scenarios, catastrophic. This is going to happen, and then this, and no one's going to like me, and then I'm going to drop out of school, and then, right? We go down this like avenue of pain and discomfort. The thing in psychology is we cannot replace a thought with a polar opposite. If you have a black and white thought, black just covers up white, and white just covers up black. They don't cancel each other. So we need to have gray thoughts. So we trip in front of a bunch of people and they're all laughing. Our brain says, everybody thinks I'm an idiot, I'm such a loser, and these kind of things. Happens as an adult too. Very different words, but we do it as adults too. We have moments where we're cooking and we burn something, and our brain will say, I'm a horrible parent, I can't even cook meals. This is black and white thinking. So we have this very polarized thought of everybody doesn't like me, I'm such a loser. We can't flip it and say, no, everybody loves me. We can't do that. Our body won't accept it, our mind won't accept it. So how do we turn it into a gray thought? Some people don't like me, some people do. We could just cancel it out by saying, well, my parents love me. We don't want to say at least, because that's still polarizing. If we look in the mirror and we go, oh my God, I don't like what I see, which we do as adults all the time, we can't go, nope, I'm a sexy sunny beach. Woo! It doesn't work. So instead, we have to replace it with these magic words, and maybe. We need to just use these all the time with our kids. Back to the first example, when our kid comes home and says, I don't think anyone likes me, nobody likes me. And we sit down and hold space for them. We say, I know what that feels like. I have thought that before. That hurts. I'm so sorry you're feeling that. We don't say, but. We say, and even when we feel that, people do like us. Both are true. I do feel it, and people do love me. And is key. The other one is maybe. Maybe there are people that do like you. Maybe everybody doesn't hate you. These are huge. So that's the focus on the D. Discover your thoughts. Check for polarized black and white thinking. Check for positive, negative, and worst case scenario. Worst case scenario ties in our parenting a lot. For the example I gave of we burn our meal and then we're like, I'm a horrible parent. That's worst case scenario. I burned something, therefore we go through all of these things and it leads to I'm a bad parent. I burned the meal and I can still be a good parent. I burned the meal. Maybe I'm still a good parent. The next is identifying our feelings. I have a resource which I have included in the links here for your teachers. Please download it. It's a emotions wheel. Start using these. Don't say, I feel like you're rude. I feel like you were rude to me. That's not a feeling. That's blame that is hiding in the shell of good conversation and communication. Look at the feelings wheel and have them start identifying feelings. These are huge. When we're talking about our senses, we're referring to our sight, taste, touch, smell, hear. There's one that I love where you're going to go through all 5 senses. What can I see? What can I taste? What can I smell? What can I touch? What can I hear? This will pull children from that emotional right side of their brain into the logic side of their brain. Essential. Another sensory thing, bilateral movement. So if I were to look at my hands and do this, which you can do before a test, job interview, whatever it is you need to do, or you can tap your legs. Obviously you can't do it loud, but just tap your legs back and forth, and it's forcing your brain to communicate on both sides. We taught them breathing practice. One of the greatest breathing practices is square breathing. One of the greatest breathing practices is breathe in for 3 seconds, hold it for 3, out for 3, hold it for 3. And we just repeat this. That's why it's called square breathing. When your kiddo says, nobody loves me, and you sit with them in it, I know what that feels like. I hear you. Maybe people do. And it's okay to feel that and have people that love you. You're connecting. You're allowing them to feel their feels. You're giving them a moment to take a break, and then encourage them to have time for themselves too. This is building their power of resiliency to take something that has turned their comfort into discomfort, to examine the dis by discovering thoughts, identifying feelings, and listening to their senses. It erases the dis and it turns it back into comfort. Sometimes it doesn't erase it. Sometimes it just balances it, and that's acceptable as well. And when we do this, we're winning. This is huge. Those crisis moments that are going to come, to help our children learn how to take discomfort, sit with it, identify their feelings and their thoughts and their senses. Senses as my heart is racing. I need to sit down. I want to go to bed. I want to go home. These are body senses. When we focus on these things, if you make a mistake while doing homework, it's quickly worst case scenario. Oh, I suck. I'm never going to be good at this. And I'll say, oh, I know what that feels like. It doesn't feel good to feel like you suck and that you're never going to do any good. What's on the other end of the pencil eraser? And I'm like, okay, so we can feel like we suck and we can erase it and keep going. These little tiny moments that you're doing and maybes and encouraging thoughts. Hey, what did your brain just tell you right now? You know, you said it out loud. I suck. I'm never going to be good at this. Are those black and white? Growth mindset is all about yet. I'm not good at this yet. Or I'm not good at this and I can get better. We're using the and. I'm not good at this, but maybe I can get good. How do I do that? These skills will change their life. And believe it or not, the more you practice them, they're going to change yours. Because most people in my generation, if we lost our balloon, our parents were like, what are you crying about? It's a balloon. Get over it. And emotions weren't safe. So with our children, we want to make sure that emotions are safe. Normally at this point in the speech, I open up for questions. However, I can't quite do that. If you have questions, my resource information is on the bottom of the emotion wheel sheet, as well as the PDF that I sent out. You can watch this as many times as you want and share it away, because the point of this is less about making me money and far more about saving our children and helping us heal with joy and live with joy. I really appreciate that you took the time to watch this. Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.